In today's video, we're going to continue taking a look at some of the top NHL prospects for this summer's 2018 NHL Entry Draft. We're going to rank the top 5 available forwards, and that's coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams. So if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So today we're taking a look at the top 5 forwards available for the 2018 NHL Entry Draft. And yesterday we completed a ranking system looking at the top 5 defensemen. Now today we're going to take a look at the top 5 available forwards. So this is strictly my opinion on who the top 5 forwards are. So we're going to start at number 5 and work our way up to number 1. I'll tell you who I have ranked and where they're currently playing, a little bit about the player, and you can go ahead and leave some comments down below and let me know what you think of these players, or if there's any other players that you think should be ranked in the top 5. So let's get started. Number 5, we've got Oliver Wahlstrom, who's currently playing in the US and the USHL in the National Development Program. He's a center, he's a top goal scorer, he's got a lot of offensive instincts, he's a pretty well-rounded two-way player. He can play the wing as well, but his natural position is at center. Wahlstrom's has 78 points in 51 games this year, so he certainly has a tremendous offensive talent. Now I do believe whoever drafts him may have to wait a little while to get him into their lineup, as I'm pretty sure he's committed to going to Harvard next year, so it looks like he's going to play in the NCAA for at least a year or two. Sometimes they end up staying there a little bit longer as well, but it looks like he is going down the college route, so he will be a little bit longer getting into an NHL lineup. So whoever drafts this guy obviously needs to be a little bit patient and waiting for him, but this should be well worth the wait. He has a lot of upside and is a tremendous talent. Now I have him ranked as the top 5th best forward here, and I fully suspect he'll end up going in the top 10 overall, probably around the 8, 9, 10 spot is more than likely where Wahlstrom's going to end up being drafted. Now some other things that are key about Wahlstrom: he has very good hockey sense, anticipation, vision. He just seems to have one of those players on the ice where he just seems to know where his teammates are. He can make certain passes without even having a look. He just knows where things are. He can anticipate the play very, very well. Some of the hockey sense type skills are just things you cannot teach. So this kid has a lot of tremendous talent here. The number 4 top forward in the NHL draft this year should be Barrett Hayton, who's currently a center iceman playing for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds in the Ontario Hockey League in the OHL. He is a tremendous talent, excellent two-way player. If I had to compare him to an NHL player that everybody would be familiar with, it would be Patrice Bergeron. Not to say he's going to be a big star like him, but he does all the little things right. He plays a very solid 200-foot game, pretty good two-way center, does all the little things. He can play the PK, the power play, has tremendous offensive talent, but he just does all the little things right. He's a very smart hockey player, so he's probably the top center, in my opinion, available in this draft right now. He's a player who's improved tremendously throughout this season, and his draft stock has gone up quite a bit. Now in yesterday's video, when we were talking about the top 5 defensemen, we talked a lot about how Evan Bouchard has really gone up the draft ranking substantially this year. Well, this is another player who's done the same thing. He continues to impress. He was one of those players that he didn't end up making Team Canada for the World Juniors, so he spent the whole year in junior where a lot of his teammates ended up away for a substantial period of time, which increased his role, gave him a lot more things, roles to play on the team, and really increased his overall development this year. Was actually good for him. The number 3 forward available in this draft to me is a right winger under the Halifax Mooseheads organization in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, and that's Filip Zadina, who's from the Czech Republic, playing in the QMJHL. This is a player I've had a chance to see play in person a few times, and he is an absolutely tremendous talent. He's a natural goal scorer, but he's also a very good setup guy, and he's a very hard worker, very tenacious all around the ice in both zones. He does play a pretty good defensive game as well, so he's a fairly complete 200-foot player, plays hard in all ends of the ice, like I mentioned, but his biggest strength is scoring goals. He scored 44 goals this year in junior. He has 82 points in 57 games, like I said, including 44 goals, which is tremendous. He's just a real fun guy to watch. Some of the games I've had a chance to take in, he's had some highlight reel goals. He's just a tremendous talent, and I suspect he'll be the number 3 forward right now to go into the draft this summer. The number 2 player available in the draft this year is another right winger, Andrei Svechnikov, who plays for the Barrie Colts in the Ontario Hockey League. Obviously, Svechnikov is of Russian descent, but he's playing in the OHL, and he's another guy, he's a natural goal scorer. He also has 44 goals this year in junior. He has 72 points in 44 games. So that means with his 44 goals, he scored a goal per game in the Ontario Hockey League this year. He's got pretty good size. He's 6'1", 188 pounds. So he's still going to grow a little bit into that frame of his. But he's got tremendous upside. Svechnikov is probably, you might argue, the best pure sniper in this draft. Zadina's is certainly a close second. But Andrei Svechnikov has proven in the Ontario Hockey League he's a force to be reckoned with. And he should prove to be a top 6 forward with a lot of tremendous goal scoring abilities in the NHL level. I'll be surprised if he does not develop into that. Now there has been some argument throughout this season. At one point he was had a chance to give Rasmus Dahlin a shot at being the #1 overall talent in this draft. But I think Dahlin's really separated himself now. For the longest time, Svechnikov was considered #2, but some recent draft rankings and some recent play that I've seen, he's actually dropped 1 spot compared to my rankings back a few months ago. So right now, I have him done as the 2nd best forward. Now that could change still. You never know. The seasons for these guys aren't quite over, and for some of them, they're very comparable and slightly, in some ways, and different in others. So it kind of depends on which team picks in what spot will kind of determine where they go. But right now I have Svechnikov at 2. At one point though he was a top forward, and he could potentially get that spot back to see how the next things go here in the next little while. But the top forward available in this 2018 NHL draft is now Brady Tkachuk, playing in NCAA BostonU. Obviously, Brady Tkachuk, as you all know, probably familiar with his father. Keith Tkachuk was a longtime NHL forward. His older brother Matthew, is playing for the Calgary Flames, is in his 2nd season now. So Brady Tkachuk is basically a slightly bigger version of Matthew, with the same agitating qualities, but with a better goal-scoring pedigree. So he's a little bit bigger, stronger version of his brother who can score a little bit more frequently. So he's had a tremendous season in Boston University. He had a tremendous showing for the Team USA at the World Junior Championships this past December and January. He looked fantastic at that tournament, scored some really big goals, and I fully suspect that Brady Tkachuk might actually outdo his brother and his dad and end up being the highest drafted Tkachuk here in the family. Right now, I'd put him #2 overall. If you take a look at the video we did yesterday, and if you missed that one, ranking the top 5 defensemen, there'll be a YouTube card up here. You can go watch it. We ranked the top 5 D-men. Now, the top D-men, Rasmus Dahlin's fully expected to go #1. Then I think we're going to see a bit of a gap here with at least 2, maybe 3 of these top forwards going in between before we see a plethora of defensemen picked in between as that. That's kind of how I think it's going to go. I think we're going to see Dahlin, probably Tkachuk, Svechnikov, Zadina, and then I think we're going to get into some of the other D guys like Bouchard, Boqvist, maybe Dobson, and then we're going to come back to some of these other centers that we talked about here, like Hayton and Wahlstrom. That's kind of how I feel the first round is going to go as of right now, but there's still a fair bit of time left here before the actual draft takes place. We obviously have to determine the draft rankings. Some of these guys' seasons haven't quite finished yet, and like I said, it will play a role as well what teams are picking and what spots, because obviously they're going to want the best player available, but they're going to want the best player available for their team and where things are at with their organization. So certainly keep that in mind. So that's my ranking system for the top 5 forwards available for this summer's entry draft. So leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think of my list. If you have a different list or you'd rank these guys differently, or if you'd include some different players as well, certainly leave some comments down below. We can discuss that further in the comment section. I have no problem if you agree, disagree. Leave some comments and we'll talk about it further. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. As I mentioned, we cover all 31 NHL teams. We also cover a lot of the top NHL prospects. If that's something that interests you, there's lots of coverage here on this channel for that. If you haven't done so already, consider checking us out on social media. You're going to find our Twitter handle right here on the screen, so check us out on Twitter. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, and all those accounts are linked down below in the description. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will catch you next time.